Have you ever seen someone doing something almost effortlessly, like play a seemingly impossible guitar solo, speak a foreign language fluently, or win a fight just from their reflexes or muscle memory? Well, you probably have, and when you saw it, you probably thought, I want to become as good as them one day. So you started trying to learn the skill, but within a week or a month, you'd already given up or switched your attention to something else. Well, nowadays, this is more common than you think, and that's because of apps like Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, which have decreased our attention spans. The majority of people's attention spans nowadays is around 8 seconds, which is lower than a goldfish's. So there's no wonder why we can't focus on learning a skill for a week if we can't even watch a 30-second YouTube short. So the first step you should take if you're serious about learning a skill is to delete TikTok from your phone. At first this will seem annoying and you'll start making up excuses as to why you shouldn't delete it. But trust me, if you ignore these excuses and find the courage to delete it anyway, then you'll be a lot happier in the long run. Now that you've hopefully done that, let's start with why you should learn a skill. The first reason is to stop boredom. I remember just before I got into self-improvement, I was spending all day playing video games, watching YouTube and just killing time waiting for the end of the day. Then I discovered self-improvement and I decided to start practicing my guitar more. Suddenly I had something I could do for hours at a time and that I had something to show for afterwards. Learning a skill also helps you to avoid ending up in a dead-end 9 to 5, as it gives you an advantage over others who have to rely on degrees and qualifications and therefore are limited to working for someone else. So if you learn a skill, you have an advantage over others that enables you to become self-employed. Some examples of skills that could help you start your own business and therefore make your own money are learning how to fight, learning web design, learning copywriting, learning how to video edit, learning a language, learning an instrument, learning how to code, learning a sport. These are all extremely valuable skills that you could use to make your own money instead of having to rely on a paycheck. For example, you could charge businesses for your help. You could sell your knowledge by teaching people skills you have learned. Or you could just start a business yourself using these skills. If you learn to speak a language fluently, then you could become a personal translator for a business. If you learn how to play an instrument and how to video edit, then you could sell video courses teaching people how to play. If you learned web design and copywriting, then you could fairly easily make a profitable website. As well as helping you monetarily and giving you financial freedom, learning skills also help to improve your value as a man, making you more attractive and also helping you to forge friendships with other high-value men. This is because learning a skill not only shows you're willing to stick at something and improve at it, but also because learning a skill increases your testosterone levels by improving your confidence and improving your pride. I talked about pride in the last video, so go and watch that now if you want to know more about it. The skill that you learn may also turn out to be your purpose. For example, your purpose could be to become a great swimmer, a skilled chess player, or an incredibly powerful fighter. But you'll never achieve any of these purposes if you're just sitting around watching YouTube all day like I was. You have to just start. You'll start out as a noob, or a novice, or whatever you want to call it. But eventually, you'll rise through the ranks. You'll go from novice to intermediate to pro to expert, and then eventually you'll become a master. But you've got to just start. A book that I'd recommend about how to learn a skill is Mastery by Robert Greene. In the book, Robert Greene talks about the 10,000 hour rule, which is that you have to spend 10,000 hours learning a skill in order to master it. Now, when I say 10,000 hours, you're probably filled with dread. You think it's going to be miserable, painful, and even impossible just because of how long it's going to take. But actually, as long as you pick the right thing, the right skill to master, the 10,000 hours just feels quick and easy. And it feels fun, in fact. Now, when I say the right thing, people automatically think about things they're passionate about. And Robert Greene says this is a mistake. That's because if you pick something you're passionate about, then what I said at the start is going to end up happening. You'll be watching a famous artist on TV, and all of a sudden you'll start practicing sketching. You want to become some wonderful master artist, even though you've never thought about doing it before in your life. And then within a week, you'll watch the Tour de France and you'll think, oh, actually, I'm going to become a cyclist. The trick to finding out if the skill you're thinking of is the right one for you is to picture yourself doing that skill for 10,000 hours. If you can't picture yourself doing it for 10,000 hours, then it's probably just a fleeting passion and it's not the skill for you. However, if you can picture yourself doing it for 10,000 hours, then it's the right skill. It'll probably seem boring at first, and you probably won't want to do it because some exciting, fleeting passion just appears in your mind instead. And it probably will be boring at first, but as you slowly get better, the amount of boringness that it is, that you have to endure, will slowly go down, and eventually it will just become fun. Like you see these professional athletes or these professional chess players, they don't look like they're being bored. They look like they're enjoying themselves, like it's almost just a fun little game for them because they're so good. Just to clarify, let's break down how long 10,000 hours actually is. 10,000 hours is 417 days or 1.1 year. However, that's only if you're doing constant practice, no breaks, 24 hours a day for 417 days. Just straight practice, no breaks. And that's impossible. Because one, the practice would be compromised because of lack of focus due to sleep deprivation. Two, you'd die of starvation, dehydration, or physical exhaustion. Obviously, even if we were all immune to death, no one would be able to practice for 24 hours a day. And that's because no one's attention span has ever been that long in the history of humanity, let alone in today's world. Instead, we have to spend a longer span of time than 417 days in order to be able to spend less time per day. If you found the right thing and you could do it for 10,000 hours, then I think it's safe to say that you could put aside 1 hour a day to practice it. If you did this, it would take you 27 years and 5 months to achieve your goal and master the skill. Now, at first, this probably seems long and annoying and like it'll take forever. But actually, if the skill is your purpose, then it's the best thing you could be doing with your life anyway. Pursuing your purpose gives your life fulfillment, so there's no point rushing it. However, if, like I mentioned earlier, you're learning skills to start a business, then you'd be better off doing what I call mini mastery. This is where instead of spending 10,000 hours practicing a skill, you shorten that time down to 100 hours. You'd still be very skilled, but instead of spending all this time learning one thing, you'd have an arsenal of skills at your disposal, ready to monetize and ready to help with your business. Like I was talking about in the last video, discipline and consistency are key. If you install this app called Habit Tracker on your phone, and you make it a habit to do 1 hour a day of practice of your skill, then within 100 days, which is just over 3 months, you'll be ready to make money using that skill. Now imagine that you did this constantly. Whenever you were finished learning one skill, you started learning the next. Within just over a year, you'd become an expert at 4 things. You're now 4 times more valuable than the skillless bozos who spent thousands of pounds or dollars and 3 years at university just to learn one skill. And in most cases, they don't even learn a skill. Like, I don't know what skill you're getting from gender studies. Also, nowadays, with the availability of the internet and YouTube, you don't even have to pay to learn a skill. I mean, in some cases, buying a course is very beneficial and it can really help. But even then, the amount you pay is tiny compared to a degree. That's all for today's video, guys. If you found it helpful, then leave a like or subscribe. And yeah, have a great day. And as always, memento mori.